Christmas is supposed to be a day of joy, but for me, one Christmas became a day I will never forget for an entirely different reason. As we walked along a deserted road that cold night, the sound of faint cries pierced the silence. Following the tiny voices, we discovered what no one ever wants to see: a newborn puppy, wet and trembling, lying helplessly next to what looked like his lifeless mother. He hadn't even opened his eyes yet. His fragile body shook from hunger and cold. My heart sank. How could such innocence be left behind? Just a few steps away, another whimper, then another, and another. Before we could even catch our breath, we realized what had happened. 6 newborn puppies, barely a few days old, scattered across the freezing ground. They were far too young to survive on their own. Their mother was nowhere in sight. Who could have done this? Who could leave behind 6 tiny souls with no chance to fend for themselves? Without hesitation, we gathered them into our arms. Their bodies were ice cold, their cries soft and desperate. They needed warmth. They needed food. They needed love. That night, I made a silent promise. I would fight for them with everything I had. The first few days were the hardest. Caring for such fragile lives meant sleepless nights, waking up every 2 or 3 hours to feed them, checking their temperatures, and making sure they were warm. We barely slept 3 hours a night. Every moment mattered. Could they make it through until morning? Would their tiny bodies keep fighting? Slowly, we began to see hope. Their temperatures stabilized. Their tiny bellies filled with milk. They started gaining weight, each of them adding around 100 grams in just a few days. It may not sound like much, but for them, it was everything. It was proof that they were holding on, that they wanted to live.
Du bist so brav. Der Fetteste. Oh my goodness. Oh. Das kann ich ja kaum noch hoch.
As they grew, their personalities began to shine. Some were bold and adventurous, running ahead as if eager to discover every corner of life. Others were gentle and cautious, preferring to stay close and observe before joining in. Each had their own quirks, their own spark. They were no longer just abandoned newborns. They were puppies with stories, with futures, with hope. We named each of them. For the first time in their lives, they had identities, recognition, love. They learned to eat solid food, to explore their surroundings, and most importantly, to trust. They trusted the hands that held them, the voices that comforted them, and the people who promised never to leave them behind. Of course, one question lingered in my mind: who had abandoned them? We searched for answers, but the truth remained a mystery. Perhaps they belonged to someone's pet who had given birth, and instead of care, the babies were discarded. Maybe someone saw them as a burden, not a gift. We'll never know. But one thing was certain: we refused to let their past cruelty define their future.
Videos gepostet habe, wie er sitzt, liegt oder einfach nur im Garten. Trotzdem unterscheiden sie sich wie Tag und Nacht, denn Bruno ist eine Love-Bomb. Das heißt, er ist ein absoluter Familienmensch und liebt Aufmerksamkeit. Yoshi hingegen interessiert das alles Scheiß. Er legt sich wirklich immer hin, er hasst es, Gassi zu gehen. Er ist also die perfekte Couch. Maya, Ruby, Lila und Sharky haben ein Zuhause. Ruby zum Beispiel hat eine liebevolle neue Mama und kriegt in Deutschland sogar einen richtig coolen großen.
As the weeks passed, the puppies grew stronger. They received their first vaccinations. bravely enduring the process as though they somehow understood it was for their own good.
Sie liebt es zu essen und das ratet mal, was oben angekommen macht. Sich hinlegen. Also Spaß beiseite.
They became playful, full of life, always ready to chase each other, tumble in the grass, and shower us with affection. Watching them blossom was the greatest reward for every sleepless night we had endured. Then came the moment we knew would one day arrive. Families began calling, eager to adopt them. My heart was torn. How could I let go of the little lives I had fought so hard to save? They had become a part of me, a part of my heart. But I also knew they deserved homes of their own, families who would love them just as fiercely.
Ist so groß und schnell geworden, dass man wirklich nur noch Zunge im Gesicht hat. Also schlangen werden. Aber all in all ist Bruno einfach der perfekte Familienhund, der einfach nur zum Kuscheln und Liebe geben da ist. Und so wie es ihm ein Ticket nach Deutschland und ein neues Zuhause.
We carefully vetted each application, determined that only the most loving, responsible homes would be considered. These puppies had once been discarded, but now they were miracles, survivors. Each one deserved nothing less than a lifetime of love and protection.
Unsere großen Hunde, kommen natürlich alle Babys ihr Abendessen. Und für mich ist es natürlich, euch gefällt das Video und folgt uns natürlich, um Teil der Travel to Rescue Familie zu werden.
As I watched them play one last time before leaving for their new homes, I held back tears. They looked up at me with eyes full of trust, unaware of how close they had once been to never seeing the world at all. And in that moment, I knew it had all been worth it. Their journey began in cruelty, but it ended in love. 6 tiny souls, abandoned on a freezing Christmas night, now had the chance to live, to love, to be loved. If this story has touched your heart, please share it. Let the world know that every life matters and no animal deserves to be abandoned. And if you ever come across an animal in need, remember, you have the power to change their fate, just as we did for these 6 precious lives. Because love saves lives, and every life is worth saving.
Wenn ihr zum Beispiel den kleinen Bruno ein Zuhause schenken möchtet, müsst ihr nur über den Link in der Bio das Formular ausfüllen. Und folgt uns natürlich, um die Welpen aufwachsen zu sehen.